All right, we're live. Just kidding there. Thought you had a little hiccup in the beginning, but we don't. We do it every year, I think, now, right?
Yeah.
We pretty much do it. So, welcome, everybody. Wow, the enthusiasm level just really escalated
Let
here.
me try that again. Let's try that again, Paul. Hang on a second.
All right, go ahead, Louis. Take it away.
Welcome again, ladies and gentlemen, to the ZBrush Summit. Again, let them hear it around the world.
You're Louis' energy, by the way. So
Yeah.
if you don't have the energy level enough, he kind of just gets more crazy. So, but then if you give him more energy, then he escalates to crazy.
Even further.
Yes, even further.
So
right?
this is
so
ground zero.
Welcome to our 4th annual ZBrush Summit. We're very excited for the people we've lined up for presentations again this year. And of course, we got workshops going on here physically on location. We again are giving away stuff to you people here on site.
There's a ton of prizes. Yeah, there's a ton. I snuck a peek. There's some really great stuff.
I'd say it's around $45,000 worth of stuff we're giving away.
Somewhere in the neighborhood
this year.
Yeah.
So online as well, we'll be giving away to you using your Twitter. So we've got our booth babes, Thomas and Joseph back in the corner to communicate with you guys. Yeah. I like that they got a bigger applause than we said, welcome to the ZBrush Summit. They're like, Joseph Trust! Where is he? Right, so again, for those online, the Twitter people, you're going to be asked a question after every presentation, and we're going to have a little number system 1 through 10. You're going to give the answer in a full sentence, keywords here, full sentence, and then place your number. I'll be saying this probably about 4,000 times. So
Can I just say, preferably in English? That would make things a lot easier.
Sure.
As well.
Sure. Yeah.
Not that there's anything wrong with the other tongues, but preferably in English.
And of course, we got Mr. Louis Tucci here again to do some interviews in the back with everybody.
It's going to be great. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. The Sculpt-Off, I don't know if everybody knows this, but the Sculpt-Off started yesterday. And,
done.
And ended.
Yeah.
So we're going
Started and ended.
Started and ended yesterday, and we again had a turnout of epic
pretty
proportions.
awesome.
Some big heavy hitters. And I saw on the lot one of the defending champions was roaming around smoking a cigarette, so I had a chance to talk with him.
I'm going to take you guys further.
Yeah, Fiora Tedeschi was just hanging out back there. So 2-time champion, defending the belt.
Yeah.
3's a charm, they say. We'll see if fate is on his side.
Yeah.
Only time will tell.
And of course, voting for that is going to start here at noon. So when we start the presentations here with Damien Canderle up next here in a moment, we're going to start the voting. All voting is done on ZBrushCentral.com. So all you got to do is go there and you place the vote for the image that you like.
Hold on a second. Don't get carried away. The most important thing is that this year the voting is happening anonymously. You will not know. Well, I know because visually, after looking at so many people's works for so many years, it's kind of.
So you're saying you know what every person is?
Maybe I could
right.
be held to task on this. Who knows?
I'm going to say go ahead and say try and put all of them out in front of you and see if you can name them all.
Let's do it later.
All right.
Off the camera.
Okay.
But that leads us to.
You see, he said off camera. He doesn't want to be seen.
I'm not going to be seen doing that. Are you kidding me?
Okay.
No.
Yeah, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, and our first presenter today is someone who has had a tremendous influence on the world of ZBrush for.
A little? Just a little?
By a little bit. I mean, a little bit. Just a thin little line, maybe?
Kind of a big deal.
A little line can be a big line sometimes.
Right.
But I can't imagine my own work not being what it is without his influence and without the influence of his implementation of that brush. So I think it's a very special sort of starting point for us. This is our fourth outing together. Mm-hmm. This is not our 4th year together.
I'm retiring now. I just can't sit up here with you anymore. This is it. I can't do it anymore.
I can't imagine what I would do come this time of year if there was a ZBrush Summit. People say, "You're doing that again?" I say, "Of course I'm going to do that again." And of course I'm happy to be here to be alongside you and the rest of the team. But I think Damien Canderle, to have an opportunity to have him speak this morning, this afternoon, if you can grab him outside of here, it's going to be great.
Yep. If you guys don't know, he's the creator of the Damn Standard Brush.
The Damn Standard Brush. Actually,
don't
it's
know.
not. Yeah, give him a round of applause. Really big round of applause. Like I say, most of the time the students will ask, again, we're broadcasting live from the world-famous Noman School of Visual Effects inside the fabled green screen hangar where it all goes down. But, the Damn Standard Brush actually stands for Damien Canderle. It's not just, damn, that's a good one, which a lot of students have trouble with the first day. You say, well, yeah,
or
damn.
you make a stroke sometimes, just BAM!
Yeah,
right.
which is, and he's actually got a nice thing happening. He's going to be giving us access to another one.
He's got special stuff.
Yeah, Damn Part 2 is coming up.
Yeah.
So Damn Part 2, you can have 2 times the damn fun. You can get away with saying that, too, around the world.
Yeah, so we got a massive lineup. Of course, everything's happening today from starting at noon, and we'll be going to late through the night, later on tonight.
Saturday evening.
Yeah, and then we got a presentation starting at 10 tomorrow morning, going through to the award ceremony will be at 7 o'clock tomorrow night for the 3rd Annual ZBrush Awards, followed by a little shindig out here for all you people physically here.
We're having
usual.
shindig tonight?
What? No, shindig's
No,
tomorrow
shindig
night.
Tonight you're on your own in Hollywood, people.
Yes.
Tonight you're on your own.
Right, and then Sunday we're going to start again at 10 in the morning, and we'll be announcing the winners of the Sculpt-Off at 6 o'clock on Sunday. So also for the voting for that, so everyone knows, again, the voting's going to start in any minute here, all right? And it's going to end at 3 o'clock on Sunday. There'll be no more votes being casted after 3 o'clock on Sunday. But again, you just go to ZBrushCentral.com, cast your vote for the images that you like.
And keep in mind, we're broadcasting around the globe, more than 150
in multiple
countries,
platforms.
multiple platforms.
We're on
multiple
YouTube.
platforms.
We're on YouTube. We're on Facebook. We're on Twitch.
I was
and
gonna
then
say.
our ZBrush Live channel. Who's here for the first time?
Let's hear it.
Physically.
Oh, wow. Okay, give yourselves a better round of applause than that if you're here for the first time. You gotta learn to make some noise. A little bit louder. Where's the energy at? People, people, people. It's 3 o'clock in the afternoon in New York City. A little bit more vigor. Yeah, no, that's great. We got 150 plus countries, probably more than 400,000 viewers at this point. I want to say hello to everyone in India, China, and all the countries around the Far East. It's definitely getting late there or getting early, wherever you are. We're happy to be broadcasting into your living room, into your bedroom, and well, wherever you feel like you want to watch this. It's your business. We're here for you.
Louis here for you, everybody.
Yeah.
He's the crutch.
Late into the
keeping it
evening.
together. Yeah, so again, we're going to be, after every presentation, okay, for you online, we'll be asking questions for giveaways. We'll be asking questions to you here. During the presentations, many of the artists will be taking questions again from you, fielding questions. So I'll be walking around with the microphone when your hand goes up that I have availability to ask a question to the artists or the studio that we have here. I'll come and bring the mic around to you. For those of you online, you're going to want to get on Twitter, and you can send questions through our Twitter account. And Thomas and Joseph will be monitoring those and sending them to my little dandy iPad here. So throughout all these events and all these presentations, we'll be trying to see where we can fit questions in that you guys might have for the artists that are up on the stage. But some of you have segregated certain times, all right, for asking questions. But we'll do our best to see the questions that we can ask that you guys have. And make sure for those in here, as you can see, it's pretty dark. So it's kind of hard to see some of you. It's like a field of heads right now sometimes. So make sure you raise your hand pretty high and give it a wave so I can see it, so I can get over to you and ask the questions, okay? So
Let me just say as well, I want to thank everybody, the first timers. A lot of hands came up. It's really, really something. I want to thank you for making the journey, making the trek from wherever you come from, to be here live with us again, under the shadow of the Hollywood sign. It's really great to be here in person with all of you, and we hope that it fulfills everything you've heard and have wished it's going to be. We know it's going to You
Yep. So Damien, how are you? You
thanks
feeling
again.
good?
Damien.
Are you?
Ça va,
Damien's
monsieur?
feeling good. He's feeling good.
Showing us the French thumbs up.
Yeah, he's giving us the thumbs up. I'm ready.
Okay, so how about it? Let's welcome to the ZBrush Summit 2017 a man who needs no introduction, Damien Canderle. Warm round of applause, everybody. Tap those keyboards at home. A little bit louder. Here we go. What can I say?
All right, let's kick it to Damien. He's going to take it away here for our first presenter of the 2017 ZBrush Summit.
Okay, you can hear me? Okay. So first, I want to thank Pixologic and Gnomon to make this event possible. So I really want to do a big ovation for them. So please, thanks Pixologic and ZBrush. Okay, so my name is Damien Canderle. Most of you know me for the Damn Standard brush, which is cool, but I'm also doing some stuff with ZBrush. Most of this is kind of old work, but I think it's still okay, so I show you. Some more recent work, went 3D printing one. Anyway, I don't have much time to present everything, so if you want to find more stuff I did, I encourage you to go to my website, madamart.com, or to try to find me on any social réseau, ArtStation, Instagram, Facebook. Just look for my name, and you should find me. Just a little bit about myself. I work about 15 years in the game industry. About 10 years ago, I did a freelancer, and I'm still freelancing for companies. I started on game companies, and now I'm working more on cinematic with Digic Pictures or Blur. I'm currently working for Blur. I guess most of you know Blur, but in case you don't know Blur, it's a company doing a lot of animation for cinematics, for movies, all nice stuff. Very great people there, very talented people. Just
ready.
I had the chance to work on some of these projects, not all.
As of this moment, my program is reactivated, and I am handing over command of all global field operations to you.
Sorry, I have to cut the video because it's 4 minutes and I have a lot of things to say. So I think you get the idea. It's a very nice company, great project. I'm very happy to work there. About my presentation today, what I want to show you is my workflow in ZBrush from start to finish. I want to show you how I did this character, render in Keyshot, and after I print this character so you can see it in real life. If you want to see it, it's in the gallery. So basically, my workflow is kind of pretty simple. I use the basic tool. It's just a matter of going from something very simple and adding details as you go. So I will do a quick demo. I'm sorry, when I will do the demo, I will have to sit and you won't see me anymore. But I guess you're not here to see me, so it's OK. When I start, the first step, it's always the same. Always start with a sphere, and after, I just use the basic tools, the move tool, the clay tube, some curves to add some details, and moving to the character. I don't try to go into details at this stage. The most important part is to focus on the shape, the proportions. So let's try to show you that quickly. So starting with the sphere, you can use Dynamesh, but with a low resolution, like 34. And basically trying to define some shapes. Switching tools. Like that, making a head. Oh, I won't do something very nice, I think, in this presentation, but it's not the goal. Refining. So the idea is to get the main shape very quickly. What I like to do while I'm working is to switch matcap often to get a better idea of the shapes I'm working with. Making some eyes. Well, something like that. And when I start to get something I like, it's when I can go and add some details. For instance, for the horn, what I did is to use some curve tube. So I just put some curve, move it, and when I'm happy, I can use the move brush, for instance. I use the move brush with IQ curve to get something very sharp. If you use the move brush without the IQ curve, you get something very soft, which can be kind of cool depending on what you're looking for. Like that. Another one. What you can do also, if you want, it's to go to curve, and here, to make the curve finer at the end. Something like that. At this stage, I don't really care to do different subtools. I can work with one subtool because it's a very light geometry. It's not very heavy. And the fact that you're working with only one subtool, it makes it easier to move the whole character, to refine everything. Always working on different angle. For the arm, for instance, same process. Just start with something like that. When doing Dynamesh with all these different steps, you have to be careful, because if I'm doing a Dynamesh right now, it will merge every different part of the model. I want to keep the arm separate. So what you have to do when doing your Dynamesh, it's using the group option. That way, when you're doing a Dynamesh, each object will get specific polygroup, and you can split it very easily at the end. As you can see, I have made my own UI to make all the tools I use often very accessible. I also use sometimes some insert mesh. The process here is the same. At this stage, I don't want to be adding some very detailed gears or stuff like that, but I like to put some cylinder, some sphere, or some cube to get some idea of what I'm going to get, to place them at the correct place, for instance, like that. Maybe one in the back. Up. Since I'm with the insert mesh and I have this new 3D gizmo, I want to share something with you. I don't know if some of you use 3D Gizmo. I think it's really a great improvement over the transpose. Transpose was great, but I think the 3D Gizmo removed all the stuff that was bad for me. I found this one very good. You have a lot of options here to make some deformer and stuff like that. I won't go into that because I don't have time, but it's really great. There one thing that bothers me with this 3D Gizmo, it's the way it's look. It's, for my taste, very blocky. You don't really see what you're doing. You don't see the center of your gizmo. It's kind of annoying. So I decided to make my own, and it should be there. 3D Gizmo, next one. Yeah, here is mine. So it's very fine, very minimal design. I made this so you can see your model, not the 3D Gizmo. You have a very nice center here. You see your axis. So it's very easy to place it where you want and to see if your orientation is good or not. If I put it there, like this, you know that you're perfectly aligned and you can go in this direction. This gizmo, I made it for myself, but it will be available for everyone for free. I made a Gumroad to download it. I think Paul will bring the link, or anyway, you'll get the link. So if you want to use this gizmo, it's free.
Yeah, they'll be putting the link up on the Twitter and within the chat for that gizmo, so you'll be able to download it. Damien is sharing it with you guys.
Okay. So basically, that's it. Adding details. Oops. Yep. Yeah, sure.
Anybody have a question here in the audience? No, they're just watching now.
Okay. Well, I guess
Nobody's got anything.
It's pretty simple so far, so it's...
Again, if you have one. Oh, there's one. I got you, Dave.
Sure.
Hold on. I'm going to come to you. This is where I get my 20,000 steps for today. Who raised their hand? Right here. I'm going to give you the mic and then speak so Damien can hear you.
Yeah, I wanted to clarify where do you find the AccuCurve function, where you can turn that on and off?
I think it's in the brush palette, if I remember correctly, here. In the brush palette, in curve, you have the AccuCurve here. It's very important one. I will show. If I deactivate the AccuCurve, you get something very smooth, which can be very great. But when you want something very sharp, you just use the AccuCurve, and you can get something very sharp like that. It's very useful. I think everybody should use these features.
You can clap. Go ahead. I love that I just forced people to clap right there. Because there's like one person clapping. Like, go for it. By the way, just since that question was asked, if you guys hold down the control key over anything in ZBrush, at the bottom it tells you where it is in the palette. What palette to go to and what menus to go to. Just FYI, some info. I had another question up here, Damien. Who was it? Here we go.
I was just wondering if do you have your setup available online?
You mean my UI and everything?
Yeah.
No, not yet. But if you want, I can share my UI. There's nothing special about it. UI is very personal, I think. It's about your workflow and about what kind of work you're doing and stuff like that. So I can share it without trouble, but it's really my own workflow that corresponds to this UI. But sure, I will do. So basically, for the blocking stage, blocking pose, it's more or less that. I won't go any further. I have stuff to show. When I arrived to this stage, what I did for this project, since I wanted to do some 3D print at the end, I tried to pose it right away. Even if it was crappy mesh, crappy topology, the idea was for me to know which direction to go, which part I need to focus on my work, and if it was working with this pose. So basically, when you want to pose something, you have two options. So you can use the transpose plugin, but with the new 3D gizmo, Gizmo 3D, you can also do everything with this gizmo. Basically, you just take the part you want, and you can move it. Up. Place the gizmo at the right place. Up. Up, like that. Up. If you haven't tried this gizmo, you really should. There are lots of options. It's not very, at first it can be confusing, but when you understand the different features, it's a really, really powerful tool. Well, anyway, so with this tool, you can pose your character the way you want. So it's basically what I did for this character. So the next part is refining. When basically I have my pose and everything is done, what I'm going to do is to take the part I need. I think it's this one. So basically, it's a very rough, very distorted and everything. I keep this one as a concept, kind of, and I'm going back to, which one was it? Yeah, for instance, this one. So with this one, I put it a bit more work, but you can see it's very messy. The topology is totally unusable. So it's at this stage that I will start to merge everything together. I know that the main proportions are good, so I can work on this any further. So the best way to do, the best way, I don't know, but the way I'm working with that is first, I will do a subdivision for that. You will understand why. So now I have my subdivision here. Now I will do my Dynamesh. Oh, no, first, sorry, it's the other way. I do my Dynamesh first. OK, so I can turn the group. I don't need the group anymore. So now it's only one object. It's a bit messy, so I'm going to do some cleanup, very fast cleanup. I don't want to spend too much time. Oops. Actually, I will use this one. Just the part I know that won't work well, like that, like that, like that. I can sometimes do clay polish. Clay polish will soften the fine details, which at this stage, it's not details, it's more noise than anything. And it will keep every major form, every shapes. So now I have something that starts to looking good. Since I want to pose this character at the end, I can't work with that because there are too many polygons. I need to get something lighter. So it's now that I'm going to do a subdivision first, and now I'm going to do a Z remeasure. The Z remeasure will create a nice topology on this mesh. I will just turn it down. I don't want too many polygons, like one. It will take a bit of time. It's not very heavy. It's 2 million polygons, but it can take us some time. I hope it won't crash. It shouldn't, it's not very heavy. And why I did the subdivision before these steps? Oh man, I forgot this one, sorry. Okay, you need to freeze the subdivision and then do the Z measure. Why I did that? It's because when you will unfreeze the subdivision, your mesh will be subdivided once, because I subdivided once, and all your detail will be reprojected to your Z remesher mesh. It's kind of using a project all, but I find it works great. So I get something kind of okay. If you got some stuff a bit too messy at first, you can just redo a Z remesher, and most of the time, do it several times, you start to get something better. So now I have something that I can work with, not for the finger, of course, but for this demo, it's okay. I will subdivide this one twice. Here I have the polygons. I was 2 million before, so my goal is to be less than 2 million anyway. I'm unfreezing my subdivision. And now I will get back all my details from later. So I have some little weird stuff, but it's okay, because now what I get here, it's a very nice mesh. I will go back, make some reconstruct subdivision, and which is great. This part, I can pose this character very easily. You can't do that if you have only Dynamesh character. It's why it's nice and very important to get some Z-remesher character. And when you got your shape, you can go into detailing. So it's actually the funny part of ZBrush. It's going into detailing, add the wrinkles, the grain, all stuff that make the character really come to life. Maybe subdivide it one more time. So for this step, I don't use many tools. It's kind of the basic one, and of course the Damien standard, which is great if you want to add some wrinkle. I'm going to refine the face. Okay. Well, there's quite some subtool to save. Okay. Up. So, yeah. Always look your model from far away to see if the change you made are worth or not. Something I also do quite often at this stage, and even earlier, but at this stage too, I'm using a store morph target. Morph target, it's a kind of, when you store morph target, basically what you're doing, it's you're saving this model at this stage. And now I know that this stage is saved. You can work on your model now. You can do everything, deform it, make some change. Maybe I want to see if this will be better, like that. When I'm tweaking main shapes, usually I go down in the subdivision because it's quite easier and it gives you better result, and it'll also keep all your details. So Okay, I'm going to go back to this mesh. I will do some wrinkle here. I might add some stuff. Which one? Like that. No, I'm really adding lots of detail on stuff interesting. And if, for instance, no, I find that maybe my details are not good enough, I made something very strong and I'm not happy with it, like that. I don't have to go back in my undo history or to try to smooth everything because I had a merge target. Basically, the merge target, I can go back to my old model and just switch back. I put an hotkey for this button, but basically it's a switch button. I can do this on the whole mesh, but there's no point doing this for everything. The good part of a merge target, it's you can use it with only part. You just use the merge brush, and you can just kind of erase some part of your mesh. What it will do, it will go back to the first state where you brush the difference. So it's a nice tool to make something extreme and just turn down some part. It's better than smooth because when you're smoothing something, you're losing details. Here, you don't lose details, you just turn down the details. It might be a subtle difference, but it makes a huge difference when you're working. And once you're happy with what you did, you can delete the merge target and store another one. I like this stage. I will go to another stage. And adding more details. Okay, speaking of details on the DAM standard, I will show you the new one I made that I will share for free too. Basically, the new one, here it is. No, here it is, DAM standard 2. I made this a new one because if I take back the old one, there are several, I like my brush, of course, but there are several stuff that not working great, in my opinion. For instance, if you want here to do something very, some big crease on your mesh, you won't never get something very sharp in the middle. That's the first scenario. Second scenario, when you have a mesh with lots of subdivision, you can do some very fine wrinkle with this mesh, but it's the same. It's kind of working great, but it's not enough. It's not sharp enough, in my opinion. So I made the second one. So let's take back the first scenario. When you want to make something very sharp, oops, I need to turn it down up a bit. It's really cut into the mesh. It's maybe a bit too extreme. And I don't know if you see the difference. You can go back and make something that really cuts the mesh and is still very sharp inside. It's very great to make some stuff like that. And what is great with this brush too, it's when you cross your line, it gives you a really nice effect. At least I find. If I take with a smaller resolution, fine wrinkle, if I take here, for instance, I can go there and there's some kind of more organical stuff with this brush. It might not be as revolutionary as the first one, but I really think it can really help you people. At least I hope. Anyway, you're free to try it. If you don't like it, don't use it anyway.
So, Damien, one of the questions online actually came through.
Oh,
is
yes.
why did you actually create the original Dame Standard Brush? What was the whole
Well,
motivation?
I made the first one because actually, if I take the standard brush was the only brush almost in ZBrush at the time. And with that brush, when you do work, it's very blobby. You can't have something very sharp. Even if you turn the focal shift all the way down, and even if you put some alpha, it's always smooth, very smooth. You don't have something very sharp. And when you're working with some kind of organical stuff, you want something very sharp. So since it wasn't there, I tried to tweak the settings, and luckily I find some settings that was working kind of good, I think. So that's why. And I shared it, I think it was at the SIGGRAPH 10 years ago. I did a presentation, and I showed this brush during the presentation. And at the time, it was Ryan Kingsley, I think, who asked me if it was OK for me to share this brush. And I was OK, so he shared this brush, and it ended up being inside this brush. So I kind of glad and proud, man. I'm on this brush. So basically, yeah, that's the way. Detailing, there's not much to say. It's really a matter of taking time, adding details to the place you want. Since I have my morph target, I did something very extreme here. Now, I can take back my morph brush here, and I can just turn down some of this very, very heavy wrinkle to keep something very organical, very more realistic anyway, if I can say realistic with this monster.
So there's a question way here in the back, Damien. So I'm
Yeah,
going to give the
sure.
gentleman the mic.
Hello.
Hi.
I was wondering if maybe you could talk about some of the design decisions that you're making in this character.
The design for this character, and actually, I don't think I can really speak about design for this character because my idea about this character was first only to make a bust. I made this character only for the presentation, and I wasn't sure I was going to have enough time to make a full character. So I just basically started a head. And as I worked on this character, I don't know, stuff kept going on, and I put the arm was okay. I put some cylinder on the shoulder, cylinder on the torso, and stuff like that. And I didn't have any idea at first. It's just as the character came, stuff came together, the shapes, the profile, everything looked great to me. So it's not something that I really wanted to do at first. It just, I guess it came. I don't have all the steps here, but if you see all the different steps, you can see that this character, or you can already see, I don't know if I can go back in the presentation. No, let's do that and that. If I take back here, you see the face on the first proportion and the element on the character is very different from what I had in the final character. The final character pretty much started here when I had all these cylinders. Very simple shape. As I said, I don't want to go to details first. I just want to have the main shape to block everything. And when the silhouette on the shape, the proportion look great, I'm moving forward. So forward with the arms, with the torso, and everything. For this character, the base, the bottom part of the character, at first it was that. I wanted something like, I don't know if it was fire or something organical, like tourbillon, I don't know if it's the name. But in the end, it was very short. It gives the character some kind of friendly look. So I had some tube and stuff. It's a process. You work on the character, you look at what you get, you like it, you don't like it, you change it, you add some other stuff, and as you're moving up, you end up with your final character. So it was not something planned ahead. It's just as it comes. I hope it answers the question.
You got one right here in the front.
Yeah, sure.
Coming up, Steven.
Oh, Steve.
Hey, I do have a question about, like, we're talking about creating process, and I'm kind of curious to see, like, you seems to be really freestyle. Are you using in gathering information like anatomy structure from references or like?
On this character, I use a lot of references, but mostly references of monster, of collectible, of sculpture, and stuff like that. Not really much on anatomy for this one, but you have to know anatomy for any kind of work. It's I guess you can't work in character, you can't be a character artist if you don't know your anatomy. Anatomy is very complex. I, by no way, a master of anatomy, but I have some knowledge, and if I have to do something really anatomically correct, I will use a lot of reference. So.
That leads into actually a question online real quick.
Yeah, sure.
They want to know if you have influence from Pascal Blanchet.
Okay.
Are you influenced by his work and his style at all?
I guess I have influences from a whole bunch of people. Pascal Blanchet, yes, of course, he's been around for so long. And I really like his, I would say, cartoonish style with a lot of pipe, a lot of very organical stuff too. And it's very artistic work, so yes, I really like it. But I like his work like, I don't know, maybe thousands of other people. Some of you are here. So I guess there's so many things. You go on an art station, you see every day so many great work, man. Inspiration is everywhere. So it's hard to say, no, I like only this guy. It's impossible, I think. So for the detailing, I think it's pretty much it. I don't use any other tools, fancy tools. Just if I take this character, just to give you a bit more information. Which one? Okay, here. So this one. So this is the final model. When you're looking close to this model, because I did for the presentation and I didn't have very much time, there are a lot of stuff that are messy, but more important, a lot of parts on this model actually didn't require a lot of work. All this stuff here, here, and here, it's only basic ZBrush tool. If I take this one back to make you an example. So let's say I'm happy with that, and I want to add some details. I will, it will be easier like that. For instance, what you can do, it's to take some insert mesh. First, I'm going to do that, to get some base, to put some other stuff. And then you just go to the default brush. I think I have that here. It's a default brush. You find them if you're going to brush, insert mesh. It's, I don't remember where it's there anyway. And you just take some part here, this one. You can, oops, symmetry. You can make it smaller, like that. I took this one, for instance, like you can see on my model, up. So you can see it's very, very fast to add some details. It's better if you do your own insert mesh, but I was short on time, and actually I find it was working kind of great. What's great with insert mesh, as long as you don't drop the tool, you can switch mesh. I think it's a new feature on this version. I might be wrong, but it's really nice because it's enable you to make some try and see if it's working, not working, and stuff like that. So basically, all the details and stuff like that that can look cool are very easy to make. The only one that I made myself are this one here, this part. This part I made it using the Z modeler. I don't really have time to show that, but it's very simple stuff. Only curve. For the tentacle, it was a curve with a finer end. And all this part here are only insert mesh. I don't remember, I think it's on this one. Well, anyway, all this part, this one, it's parts that I find by default on ZBrush. So once I have my final mesh, now it's time to do some poly painting. Poly painting, if you don't know what it is, it's basically putting some color on your mesh. Poly painting has been around ZBrush for, I think, almost the start of ZBrush. It hasn't changed much. It's very straightforward. You just paint on your mesh. What you have to do is to activate poly painting. Well, I will show you the end result, and I will show you quickly how I did it. So the end result is like that. It's the same. It's a very rough painting because I didn't want to go very much into details. But the idea was to get some kind of rust on the metal, on the skin to get some part with different color, with different shapes. Basically, what you're going to do for poly painting, what I like to do first, it's to turn off matte cap. To do that, you go in, I think it's, let me, I don't remember. Oh no, it's here. In a render, you have best, which will give you shadows, preview, fast, and flat. I put some hotkey on flat, fast, and preview because I like to switch when doing poly painting between these three modes. I will do some quick demo with the torso. First, you have to make sure, I will take a brush that will work, okay. The standard brush, for instance, you to make sure you don't have Z-add, only RGB mode. Same for the smooth brush. You want to deactivate Z-add, and you want only RGB mode. I'm going to put a main color. So now I just put some gray on the full body. My way of working with polypaint, it's the same as the modeling part. You going from very broad. Yep. Oh, yeah. Like that. First, defining some major shapes, not shapes in this case, but color zone. Maybe something a bit darker to make a nice transition with the metal part. And once you get that, you're going into finer details. To go into finer details, there's some nice trick to do. It's to go to see that, you can go to subdivision 1 or 2, depending on your mesh, and using the masking tools in ZBrush, for instance, cavities, it can bring you all the detail of your model. You need to tweak it depending on what kind of cavity map you want to get and what kind of details. By default, it's very extreme. You don't have some gray shade on this kind of stuff. I'm hiding the mask, and I'm going to paint. And when you're painting that, you can get your details. Most of the time, I'm doing this as a first pass, and then I'm going to smooth everything to get something more natural. And I'm going to do that and go into details, and I don't have much time to go into details, but I think you get the idea. Basically, I did the whole character like that. It's easy to get this very fine, this light color in the crease and dark color on the horn with cavity. You can try also mask by peak and valley, or mask by ambient occlusion, it can give you good result from time to time. So now I have my full character. I have polypaint, sorry. I'm ready to render this character. You have a different option. You can make some kind of cartoon render. There are some shader directly in ZBrush. You have to tweak the settings to find some stuff, but it can be cool if you want kind of comics book render or stuff like that. And I'm short of time, so I'm going a bit fast. If you have a question, go ahead.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
sorry.
I got a question right here for the floor while you're doing that.
Yes.
Hi. When you were discussing your freezing subdivisions before ZBrush
Yes.
and then unfreezing workflow, is there an advantage doing that instead of just duplicating your subtool, ZBrushing it and reprojecting?
I don't really think, but I kind of like this workflow.
Thank you.
So, I don't know, maybe Paul is more competent to say if there's a difference in the projection and the subdivision, but I'm used to this workflow.
It's doing the same projection.
Okay.
So when you freeze,
Yes.
it's going to project the details because you can make also geometrical changes with the freeze.
The advantage is you don't have to duplicate your mesh and you don't have two subtools at the end. It's all in one subtool. If you have any other question while it's loading Keyshot.
Yeah, I got to walk over there. One sec. I'm coming. I'm going for 30,000 steps today. I did 20,000 yesterday. Coming. Here, where was the arm? Where was the arm? There it is.
Hi, man. I wanted to ask you about the coloring techniques. Do you use like all the colors? I'm right over here. Sorry.
Sorry, all the color.
Yeah. Do you use any images when you color, or just like?
Oh no, for this character, it was only a polypaint in ZBrush. It didn't use any image or projection or stuff like that. It was really polypainting. You can see it's kind of very simple too, so I didn't need any image. So basically, when you are in ZBrush, you can go to Keyshot very easily. You just need to, if you have a Keyshot, of course, to go to external render, you put Keyshot here, and instead of BPR, you're going to go to Keyshot. So this is my character in Keyshot. I don't really, the setup is very easy. In Keyshot, what I like, it's you can use, of course, HDRI images to light up your scene, but you also have this studio setup. What's good with the studio setup, it's in the environment here, you can create actually some light and move them and see how it reacts to your mesh. I think it's a very easy way to get some feedback on your model to see if it's the light working well, to find a good camera angle. For the character, oh, I will turn off the deep of field. Up. I will showcase some material. I did some very basic material here. This one is for the tube here. So what I have, the diffuse, it's the matte cap. I turn off the matte cap. The matte cap actually gives you some light information you don't want in the Keyshot. So here I turn off the matte cap. But other than that, I get back the vertex color. I mean, it's the polypaint. Just made some color adjustment. And I just use some procedural texture here in the roughness. And basically, it's what I did for all the part of my mesh. I made a skin shader, metal part, one for the tubes, and pretty much it's like that. I can easily change, see if it's working well.
So while you're doing a quick question, and you're at 10 minutes, just so you know.
Okay.
So our online question really quick. At which stage do you present your character for the art director or directors to get the feedback?
I mean, it depends who you're working. If it depends on the clients. most of the time, currently I'm working with Blur. I don't, the art director, I don't show my work to the art director. I'm some supervisor. So I'm showing my work to the supervisor, and the supervisor showing the work to the art director. So it depends if you're a freelancer, if you, I don't really have a question. Okay, let's go back. I'm in Keyshot, it's very straightforward. I don't have much time either for that. Let's get to the next part. Oops. So, Polypaint, ZBrush, Keyshot renders, different style of render. This one with without any lighting texture, and this one with more dramatic cinematographic lighting. Now, the print part. So, at the end, I wanted to print this character. To print this character, there are several steps you need to do. First one, it's to decimate the full character. Why you need to decimate the character? Because most 3D printers on the market don't allow you to throw millions and millions of polygons. So you need to decimate the character to get the right amount of polygon. And the other part, especially with a model like this one, you need to split your model in parts, because there are no printer in the world that can print this right now. Or at least I don't think so, not anyway. And the last step you have to do, or you can do, it's to make a hollow mesh. I mean, you don't want to print the inside of the mesh. It's a waste of resin if you're working with an SLA printer like I did. So you need to make a shell for your full model. So I will quickly show you that.
And that is on display in the gallery here. For those of you here physically, you can go actually see that print.
Okay. So basically, here's how I cut the top part of the model. Since I didn't get enough time, the bottom part, I didn't cut it at all. It was just one print for the bottom part, which wasn't very optimized, but with the time I had, it was what I did. So you can see for the head, for instance, I made some key here. Same for the arm. And you can see on the key part, there's a hole. This hole, it's to make sure the model print correctly, because when you're working with SLA, you can get some printing error if you don't have some hole in your mesh, so the air can get out of your mesh. For instance, if I take this one, you can see that it's all. I made the shell for it. Here I will show you quickly how I did it. So first, what I did, it's made a quick decimation mesh for the full character. So this one is not very heavy. It's 400,000 polygon. And with this one, I made all my cuts. So the new Boolean, live Boolean features in ZBrush really make easy to make your cut and to adjust them in the fly. For instance, if I make the live Boolean, oops, I will turn it off so you see, for instance, for the arm, live Boolean, you see this is my cut. So what's great, it's if I go back to this model here, I think it's this one. Oops. No, it's not this one. This one. So I can adjust in real time my cut to make sure it will cut exactly where I want. This is really awesome feature. So I can put the cut exactly in the wrinkle to make sure it's less visible possible. Same goes for every cut I made. For instance, if I take this one, here, for instance, here I have my cut here, so it's almost invisible, but I can just adjust this the way I want. So it's a very effective way to work. Basically, you're just making your, I would say, your cut piece, and you just use insert live boolean to cut your mesh in parts. For the hollowing process, it's pretty much the same. What I'm going to do, I don't know. I'm going to do it on cylinder, so it will be easier and faster. I'm running a bit short of time. So let's say it's my mesh. What I did, so first I did decimation, so let's say it's my mesh with a decimation. Now I will need to copy this mesh. I will duplicate this mesh once. I add this one. This one I will make a Dynamesh version because in order to create a shell, you need a Dynamesh version. Up. You're going to Dynamesh. Dynamesh. And in Dynamesh, you have a create shell. What it's going to do, it's oops. Oh, there. You can see now I have my inside and my outside. So what I'm going to do now, it's just take the outside, hide it, delete it. I don't need the outside. So delete hidden, where it is, delete hidden. I will do a close all. I will flip my model. I will take this, move it like that. So now I have my inside part. I don't need so many polygons there. So what I can do eventually, clay polish. I will do a decimation to get something lighter, because this will be in the print, in the file I send to the print in the end. So I want something very light in polygon. Oops, sorry, I didn't make it again. Yeah. Okay, that's fine for me. Now I just need to go back to my first mesh and use live boolean and subtract this one. And I have my hollow made. So it's pretty easy. The good part with live boolean, it's you can work with mesh here, decimation mesh. You don't lose any details because you're not going to do the dynamesh on your final parts, only on the parts on the inside. I'm not sure if you get the point of this, but if you're doing 3D printing, I think you understand why I did that. And pretty much that's it, you're done. You have your part. This part, you can send it to the printer. So I guess for my presentation, I can. Thank you. I can take. Okay. Thank you. I think I can take a few more questions if you want.
Yeah, we can take a couple more questions that are here. Anyone got a question for Damien here? Great, that was awesome. You know, he flew across the water. Nothing. Oh, wait, you got one over here, Damien. You got one over here. Coming. Take this question right here.
Awesome, just awesome. The parting plane that you're using, is it does it have thickness?
Sorry?
The parting plane that you're using to make your different parts?
I didn't get the...
The parting plane that you're using to make the cuts, he wants to know if it has thickness to it. The parting.
Oh, yeah, I got. Yes, actually, the thickness, I can show you quickly how I did.
Want to switch it back to computer, Dawson, real quick for him?
Some of the, basically what I did for some parts, I will take this one back. To make my cut, you have several options, but you can just use, for instance, standard. I use a cube, for instance. This cube, I'm going to put it on another subtool, split with.
Split on mass parts. You just scrolled over. Right up. There. Up.
Split hidden.
Oh, you had it.
Voilà. I'm going to do that. Oops. Ah, oops. Delete hidden. And now I have that. What I can do for the key, I'm going to take that, for instance. Up, move it that way, double, so we can see what is happening. Oops. Oops. Oh man, what? Oh. Okay, like that. Okay, anyway. And when you have that, you just need to go to geometry, edge loop, panel loop. Turn this down, up, I turn that done. And you have to play with the thickness. It's a kind of trying to find the setting. Basically, the thickness, that's the way. Basically, the thickness, it really depends on your print, the size of your print. If you print something like that, you need something very thin. If you're printing something like that, you need a bit more space because of tolerance of the pieces you're going to put together. So the thickness depends really on your sculpt. Hope it answers the question.
Yeah, got the question? Good. All right, we got to get him to the back. Everybody, Damien Canderle.
Thank you.